Now, when you start saying, well, what's the real update? People be like, well, what you mean? This is the stuff they're not telling you about what's going on in the war that they claim we're not in. After the third ceasefire was not negotiated, then accepted by Iran, that the United States tried to issue, as we already passed the amount of days the United States wanted to implement as a way of saying, well, this isn't what we thought. No kidding. 2 days, 4 days tops. Whoops. We're not going to have any wars. Whoops. You have a president that continuously lies, but you get right behind him. I don't understand it. I just don't understand the behavior of people who sit there and see a liar right to his face and treats the whole world as collateral damage. I don't understand that type of behavior. Now, let's get to the other thing. Because it needs to be addressed. Here's the other thing that needs to be addressed more than anything in the world. Yes, energy costs are going straight up. All your energy bills are going to shoot up to the ceiling. Now, I'm glad you asked that question as to why would the energy bills start to shoot to the sky? Well, that don't make any sense. Please explain this anomaly to us, Mr. Sino. Gladly. I will gladly explain this to you. This is why we mean stocking up. Taking over Venezuela, stealing their oil, was the big move. We wanted to use that big move to finance our decisions to go ahead and have enough ammunition for what is to come between the war of nations. Now, granted, here's the situation, and I want to implement that very much so, the information. People were not very much keen to being smart or strategic about planning for a war. Because what they were thinking is that this would be something short. Iran isn't wasting much. They're striking strategically. And they have enough resources and ammunition to hold out for months, which would cost the United States greatly. Not only would it cost the United States greatly, it's going to cost the American people, the taxpayers, This is what people were screaming and trying to get the American people to understand about voting for a man like Trump. This is the kind of destructive pattern that affects all Americans. And they saying, oh, it's going to be for our benefit. No, it won't. This is why voting celebrities in as presidents, not a good idea. Now you're starting to see it unfold right before your eyes. But we're too stupid enough to believe that this is a good idea. First of all, there's never a good idea to go to war. That's a last resort. Now, Iran did not start a war. The United States decided to do it. Not a good time to travel at all, especially if you're in the Middle East. All Americans are leaving the Middle East right now through Lebanon. They've been told to evacuate because it's not safe for any American walking around in the Middle East. Now, the United States knew what was going to happen to their base. They moved U.S. troops into hotels as bombs came through and destroyed their bases in Kuwait. Kuwait has been completely destroyed as far as military bases. Now, they're not familiar with the regime power and the military resolve of the Israelis. They're looking at it as an anomaly, not a factual situation that needs to take place or to be governed. Here's the deal. You have 17 different people making 18,000 different observations about what should happen and what shouldn't happen. Here's what's actually happening. All of the things that you've believed in, you signed up for, is now working against you. That's right. Working against, not for. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a good look at it. The U.S. troops, through social media, has been videotaping themselves from a hotel, videotaping the base as it was being hit by bombs, to show that the troops knew that the bombs were going to come and hit their base. How would they be privy to such information? They wanted to evacuate immediately because they're reacting to what Iran's plan is. Every United States base is being hit, but strategically hit at right times. So the United States know that they have a problem. So the Israeli forces can't really do that much to protect themselves. The major problem is to use our allies that we used to have in the Kurds. The Kurds used to be our allies to do all our dirty work. Let's go to get those Iraqis. When we had a problem with Syria, We sent in the Kurds. Go ahead, Kurds. Go get it done for us. Right? But then in 2020 or 2019, before Trump got out of office, he abandoned the Kurds. Did he forget he did that? Donald Trump decided to abandon the Kurds. Said, F them. And they got slaughtered by the Turkish people. See, my memory's not bad. These are things that actually happened, people. So the Kurds were wiped out by the Turkish people. And they didn't like America too much after that. And it was Trump who did it. Now the CIA wants to work with the Kurds again. Trump needs them now, more than ever. All of a sudden, people from what they call the S-hole country, they need for. So the CIA, get this, the CIA is giving weapons to the Kurds to go fight and create civil unrest in Iran. To go in there and try to occupy the troops into a war and cause disruption. Now, will the Kurds fall for this again? So they're going to weaponize them to go up against Iran's military forces to try to cause so much civil unrest that they'll be forced to try to make a deal, come to the table. See, as Spain has already told the United States no, they're not getting involved in this. You're having multiple different people try to come forward with these get-rich-quick schemes, but nobody seems to understand a key point in all of this. There's not going to be a winner of this war. Iran's not going to win. The United States is not going to win. All this war has done is destabilized control in the Middle East, which means it's going to be ripe for a takeover. And everybody is sitting back, waiting to see who's going to be the victor or the loser. And they can move in with their power and infrastructure and influence of control. You've just given our enemies, Russia and China, and you've given them more leeway. Even the UK, the United Kingdom, could swoop in and cut a deal. And the United States is going to be like, oh, they're our friends. They're going to be like, F you. We're in control now. And this is how it's going to go. So no, this isn't best for our country. Meanwhile, the American people, your taxpayers, is funding a war that's over $7 billion right now. $7 billion. I got cousins and family members on those warships in the Navy. And like I told you yesterday, the war is already over. We just don't know it yet. It's over. Now, civil unrest will come as to no peace for us. The costs are going to be through the roofs, and unless they revoke Trump's war powers, or remove him from office, this crap might continue for who knows how long. We all have to understand that there is a plight that comes along with all of this. Now, when we start talking about winning tickets, there is no winning ticket here. It's only more demise. You see, most of the fighting is doing in the negotiations. The United States is crippled as far as what it could actually use. Their drones are ineffective. They're getting blown out of the sky. They don't have enough ammunition. Their Hermes drones that they praised so much were like toys to Iran. They blew them out of the sky with ease. That's $35 million a pop. Okay? $35 million a pop. So when you start thinking about when you're looking at $35 million for each explosion that goes up in the air and comes down, now, everyone has to understand one or two things. When you come into a scenario that doesn't best fit your, I wouldn't say, I would say uncomfortableness, right? You're so worried about money being spent on Section 8 housing, but you're okay with spending billions of dollars on a war that cost American lives, that cost more money than you can ever imagine. And all your tariff money that you thought was going into your pockets, which it hasn't, is now going, and this for conservatives too, because you are Americans, it is going towards war. It's going into those crumbled up pieces of drones that are getting blown out the sky. Every time they blow one of those things out of the sky, that's 35 million gone. They blew about 20 of them out of the sky already. Now, you could start to ask why the case may be, right? Why are we so stupid as Americans? Because you have been programmed. They put on people like Glenn Beck. They put on people like, they used to have Rush Limbaugh. The Bill O'Reillys. All of these people they put on TV and tell you to trust them. It's about America. Well, what they sell to you is that America is about white. Because they don't preach equality. You don't see a Fox show led by a black person. Not even the conservative ones. They believe in hierarchy, command. White, blue eyes, you're okay. Under us could be Latinos, then everyone else after the blacks. But even if you believe in the same ideologies as them, they still view you as lesser. Why is that? All-inclusive is a crime? Oof. Thought it was about people. People first. But now, we see that isn't the case. So when we start seeing people who claim that they're Republicans, what are they Republican for? I don't get it nor understand it. The communities are totally against everything that we stand for. 100% across the board. Education's at an all-time low. You have poverty's up. Inflation is up, even though Trump lied and said it's at the lowest point it's ever been. Inflation is still high. You know, like he lies about his approval rating. As long as you have a president that keeps lying to you and you keep buying it, but reality is showing you something different. He's saying that the election system was broken when he lost, but all of a sudden it works now when he won. What does that tell you? A guy who can't accept losing. I'm just an American who has to pay taxes like everybody else. and push through a narrative that only it's only being used in this context. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Don't forget to join my Patreon, which is Carcino for Life. How do I get my information? I don't just watch American news. I watch India news. So when you watch Indian news and you watch American news, you get the news. Each side might leave some things out. Like the Indian news has no true number or idea as to how many American soldiers have perished. They have no idea. They just know how many soldiers should be at the base, not how many is actually there. The death toll is actually higher than what the United States is reporting. They're just not reporting it. They're saying, oh, about 5 or maybe 8, because if they told you the real number, Americans would panic. It's like, you remember the Joker from that Batman movie, The Dark Knight? What did he say when he was talking to Harvey Dent? If I told you some local gangbangers were about to be killed, no one panics. No one bats an eye, right? But if I told you one little old mare was about to lose her life, then everybody would lose their minds, right? Because it's all part of the system. Now, is that gangbanger not a human being? What makes him different from the old mare? You see? The Nancy Guthrie situation. Who kidnaps a woman for a month? An old lady at that. Who does that? What is the benefit of that? Who's gonna say, hey, let's take an old lady? That seems great. Who does that? Nobody. Well, the window of opportunity that keeps going by, and people haven't learned anything from it. They refuse to want to learn or change. Now, what's familiar about situations? The American system. The American system has been broken for the past 17 years. Now everything is predominantly by streaming, technology, and in the last 17 years, we've seen a structure from online controlling the majority of our lives. We all work online. We don't even go into physical locations. That just really became a prominent thing more in the 2020 era. You might ask yourself, well, why? Why did such a thing happen? I'm glad you asked. This is why such a thing happened. Because of people. People intervened. People got involved. People decided, hey, I think this should happen. People said, you know what would be interesting right now? If we were to do this. People happen. Cover-ups. The economy was about to go down. They created an excuse for it. The housing market collapsed. You think that was just because of us? No. Wall Street and the banks. They bankrupt you. Corporations started opening and closing fast. All the old malls you used to be, all those big gigantic buildings with malls, all got torn down or abandoned. Go through California and see all the abandoned malls. They used to house like 30 stores, torn down to shreds. Now you might be asking yourself as to why. Why is all this happening? Why is this scenario a problem? This scenario is a problem due to the fact that they don't want a resolution. Wall Street had you investing into losing stocks, crap stocks. The average American who doesn't know anything about stocks, all your money was hedged, propped up on bad investments. Banks were giving out FICO loans to people and families who couldn't afford it. Knowing they couldn't afford it, they just okayed it anyway. And you had so many default loans that nobody in the history of banking would give them a loan. So now the federal government has no choice but to come in and put tax liens on people. The federal government had no choice but to intervene. Federal government had no choice but to take actions. So why my cousin is out to sea fighting in a war he doesn't even understand, and we all don't understand. The realities of this war is that there's many family members who are fighting in a war that they don't understand. Now, what are they going to tell these parents are these people who lost their lives in this war that they're not reporting on television. Why they have Americans pushing propaganda like war is good. We need to be in war for Israel. Tell Israel to fight their own war. Why we gotta fight for Israel? The Holocaust wasn't on American soil. So why does America need to fight for you? Go get Germany. Said you guys did X, Y, and Z to us, right? Why don't they fight for you? Why does America have to fight for you? Tell Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller, Larry David, tell all them to go get armed up. Go put on a backpack and grab a gun. Go out there and fight for Israel. See one of them jump up. Yeah, Wonder Woman. Let's see how much success she have in this one. How about this? No wars. But the economy now is all online. All these billion-dollar deals are being done online. Now, silences is getting crazy. Whew. Of course Trump got people on Congress. Now, all this chaos and madness that has taken place well, when you see there are countless people the LeBron fan versus the, yeah, that was a funny night. That was a really funny night. Fun too. Well, society has always been written by the winners, not the losers. So we'll see how it progresses moving forward. But naturally, what people see is a ongoing conclusion in reality that whatever happens do happen normally, but the majority of the time, it's all written by people who have their own personal agendas. So it is what it is. You just try to do the very best you can. It's a rough racket, you know. So when you come in and decide, oh, this is the angle I'm gonna play today, no one's gonna buy it. Every US base in the Middle East has been destroyed. That's in that area. Well, we call it the Persian Gulf attacks. Okay? So, while we always are very optimistic when it comes to these attacks, what we do notice and what we have noticed is that the people who are usually involved in such salaciousness, they're not people that are worthy of our attention, respect, etc. So a lot of people just waking up to this. So if we arm the Kurds to do pretty much our job, people who we've abandoned in 2019, when the Turkish people came over there to go to war with them, now we're going to arm them just so we can create civil unrest to give the illusion of the people of the United States and everyone else, like, look, see, look what's happening. See what's happening here? It's called living and dying by the sword. And the most we live and die by the sword, the worse it becomes. We're not going to rule Iran. It's not going to happen. We're not even going to have the people in play to do any disrupting there.
So I'm sitting.
There are a lot of different entities that have taken place. I listen to people who understand war. I listen to ex-generals. I listen to people that know that this war is more vast than anyone could ever imagine. And I've looked at the map, I looked at the strategy. Now, this guy's going over the Iranian map, and I know where everything is just by looking at the map. This is Iran. This is the Persian Gulf. This is the little narrow area ships gotta navigate through. This is Bahrain. This is Kuwait. All of these over here is bases. UAE, all of this is over here. Iran is sending missiles blowing up all the US bases on this side of Iran. Bahrain is over here, right? So the ships would come in and stock up their missiles and reload here in Bahrain. They can't do that now. So the ships that they got in the water cannot come in there and get any type of reinforcements. Each warcraft only can hold 90 missiles. Okay, the drones that they're sending, the Hermes drones, are ineffective. So now that they know that their drones can be detected and shot out of the sky, it's ineffective. So there's nothing you can do here. Iran was prepared for a war. The United States was not. They underestimated Iran's fighting power. Well, what does this look like? Trump said this war would end in 2 or 3 days. This war will last about a month. I will tell you right now, about a month. The one I just told you about the missile supplies, right? How they can't refuel or reload. Iran's drones versus the US missiles. They have a lot of missiles, right? They call PAC-3 missiles. The PAC-3 missile by the United States military, those missiles are worth $4 million a missile. Okay? And the drones that Iran use are called Shahed drones. They're worth $20,000. You heard me. $20,000 for a Shahed drone. And those drones are very destructive. So you're asking yourself, can Iran keep up? They're still manufacturing right now more weapons to go out on jeeps, ships, whatever, and sending these drones right off the back of these trucks. Now, financially, cost-wise, they got tons of these drones. But the PAC-3 missile at $4 million, you're going to shoot a $4 million missile at a $20,000 drone. They're looking at the regional economical damage that's going to really damage Iran. But no, you're going to look at Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, UAE, Bahrain, which is destroyed, Kuwait, Oman, Iraq. All of this is going to cause a civil war within. But Iran is the powerful nation that will not. UAE is going to be upset because they're going to be losing money while the United States has to fund that. That's probably looking at $4 million per minute. I mean, they're losing a lot of money here, without question. The United States can't get on the ground and fight them. If the United States get on the grounds and fight them, and Iran, they might as well, they just sealed their death certificate. There's no way you will be able to overcome that military. Now, the people who have insured and come in with their insurance policies here, what they call as the Hamas shutdown, you're looking at contracts that are going away. The Iran war, as of April the 1st, that's going to be Trump's visit to China. That's already scheduled. With this war going on, what is he going to be doing? China and Iran have very good ties in business. And now here you are going to visit China on April the 1st. I wonder if that's still on the books. Well, with the start of this war, gold has crashed. You see, when you bring down the value of gold, and that has been the worst day since 1980, you got to understand scarcity brings revenue. And no one should lose their life behind stuff like this. It's just that they need to understand that there is a lot of different entities put in place that we didn't understand or you know, get on board with. Many people didn't rely on it's not about like. You think Iraq likes Iran? No. Iraq doesn't like Iran. All these Arab states, they don't like them. All that. I know y'all talking about visiting Dubai. Y'all better forget that. Dubai doesn't like Iran. None of them do. Any place that houses a U.S. base is getting attacked. That's it. That's all. Oh yeah, I saw the jets. The United States are bankrupting themselves, or we're bankrupting ourselves to do with that, but we're concerned about Section 8 housing. We're spending billions of dollars, taxpayers' dollars, on a war that we can't win. The people of Yemen from Saudi Arabia. A lot of oil there. Well, Egypt, Sudan, Libya, they're all distributing oil through Iran. Iran runs all of it. Mm. Language barriers. Some of them do. There's people, everyone believes that everybody Arabic can understand each other. It's not true. It's not true at all. There's so many different dialects. Um, like some of it is slang, and some of them they've been in the mountains for so long people don't even understand a word that they're saying. And people that don't have any like correlation with each other were supposed to be together. This is the same mistake the United States did when they did the invasion on Iraq and weapons of mass destruction in the most expensive war, and Trump has just did that within a week. Well, I told you the man would start a war, and he did. I told you that we will not win this war, and we won't. And everybody doesn't understand the financial tolls and costs. Gold is down for the lowest points it's ever been. All factual. We've already lost the war, and they don't even understand why. Now, how do we know more than these generals that they put in place, losing Bareem? The closest refilling station would take you 3 days of sailing on a warship to reload with missiles and come back. And at 4 million a pop for the POC 3 missiles that you're shooting in the air, that's $4 million. So think about that. 4 million times 90. And that's just for each ship. And they're able to take away your missiles with $20,000 drones. $4 million missiles for nothing. Of course they didn't think it through. Look who the president is. The president is the guy who doesn't think things through. He's the president who I feel will be locked up in behind bars before it's all said and done. See, here's how. We're not a superpower like you think. Our superpower is not just us and our military. You have to think about location. Okay, what's over in what is over in mm-hmm. Well, you got to think about it. What's this is not like Japan, right? The United States get oil from there. They get their oil from Iran and Iraq. So you're not going to drop a nuclear bomb over there because they have the most precious resource. You don't want to destroy 25% of the whole world's oil nation to come from there. The whole world, 25%. You're going to mm, yes, the Persian Gulf is what's going to doom you. There's no way out of the Persian Gulf if you go in there from Bahrain. So the Mediterranean Sea is how they're going to probably have to go in there. But that's going to it's very thin for you to navigate through there. And if they want, they can seal you in. You can't fight them from the Gulf. You're going to lose. And if you go by Israel, go through the Mediterranean Sea, that's going to even be worse. And you're only got 90 missiles per ship. They have countless, endless missiles, not to mention drones that cost $20,000. The 20,000, we're spending 4 million for missiles that don't work. We thought with our Hermes missiles, we'll be able to do damage. Our Hermes drones that we got, those $35 million drones that we have, has done nothing. Now, those defense mechanisms that they put up in Israel, those things are worth 3 to 4 million, but they only can shoot off so many missiles. It's not enough to protect. Iran will shoot countless missiles at Iraq. At Israel, which they did. They rained down missiles all night because they thought Iran was shooting their load. No, they wanted to see you use up all of those protective resources. So now you're going to have to come in. Now, all your U.S. bases that were along the coast of the Persian Gulf are destroyed. So now you can't refuel or reload with any military strategy. You can't put any missiles onto the ships. Bareem has been completely destroyed. And now the people over there who didn't want the United States over there anyway, now the ships that you would bring over there to load all your missiles is done. How do you know the price? Very simple. All you have to do is research. Like I say, I study everything. There's a price for everything, buddy. And once you start looking at the costs and you start seeing how expensive this war is, we're already $7 billion in the hole. And if you look at the map, there's no way the United States should have ever started a war with Iran. Because you could get boxed in. And if you can block the ships in, which they can, there's no way out. The Gulf of Oman and the Persian Gulf, they connect. That little bitty turn that comes around. All they have to do is activate what they call the taps. They could blow that up at any time. Any ship the United States got in there, they could blow it right out of the water. And each warship can only house 90 missiles. And then let's say they let you out, right? They let your ships out. They don't bomb them. They let them out. It'll take you 3 days to get to the nearest place to go restock. 3 days of sailing. Pedal to the metal. Take you 3 days to get there. Then it's going to take you 3 days to get back. By that time, you know how much damage is going to be done? And when the United States is not able to assist Israel, guess what happens to Israel? What do you think Iran's doing right now? They're not shooting anything right now. They're waiting on the United States. They made their move. They crippled the United States. So what did the United States do? Oh, we're going to pay the Kurds to come in there on the ground and cause civil distress. Oh, you think that's going to be a good plan? Mm-mm. Iran was prepared for this. United States had no idea what they was getting themselves into. Trump thought, okay, we took away the world leader, the Ayatollah. The new regime is gonna make a deal now because we did that. This isn't Venezuela. Okay, this is Iran. You don't F around with Iran. What he failed to do as a leader and commander in chief is this is what I told you. He's not a commander in chief. This man did not restock on oil. He didn't prepare for this. There was no oil restock. There was no weapons restock. There was nothing in place. If you know that you're getting ready to do this, you don't do it half-ass. You're prepared. All your military bases are armed to the teeth with defense systems. They weren't prepared. Now you're going to destabilize the Middle East, and everybody's going to want a piece of the action. And if Iran is there for the taking, at the end of all of this, who do you think is going to take it over? Not gonna be us. Oh yeah, Russia could move right in, make a deal with Putin if they ever run into any trouble, and that gives Putin all the power he needs. We've already lost this war. Moving out of the United States would be even worse for you right now. They don't want to see any Americans. They told all Americans get out of Lebanon, get out of everywhere, go, because it is not going to be nice for you anywhere in that country. So anyway, I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Peace.